The album was recorded not far from here, in the then newly opened studios of Island Records, to whom we were still affiliated through the Chrysalis distribution deal, or label arrangement they had with Island. And both Led Zeppelin and Jethro Tull were, in a way, the guinea pigs for their new studio. And being, as I think I recall, a converted church, Basing Street, it had, by the standards of then, all the latest in technology and the latest in studio ideas. Unfortunately, many of them were wrong. And the studio was really very, very difficult to work in. Both studios, both Studio 1 and 2. And I think Zeppelin has maybe a slightly easier time. They were in a smaller studio, I think, downstairs, and we were in a very big room upstairs most of the time. So it was a very difficult album technically to make because we just didn't know what we were hearing. And it just, everything sounded bad in the room. Everything sounded jarring and unpleasant. And when it came to mastering the record, a lot of my confidence, had gone out of the whole process. I mean, it really didn't sound to me a good album.
Sitting on the park bench, eyeing little girls with bad intent. Snot running down his nose, greasy fingers smearing shabby clothes. Hey, Aqualung, drying in the cold sun, watching as the pretty panties run. Hey, Aqualung, feeling like a dead duck, spitting out pieces of his broken love. Oh, Aqualung, sun streaking cold, an old man wandering lonely, taking time the only way he knows. They're curtain bad as it bends to pick a dog end. It goes down to the bark and warms his feet. Feeling alone, the armies of the road, salvation at a moat and a cup of tea. Aqualung, my friend, don't just start away uneasy. You poor old sod, you see it's only me. Do you still remember December's foggy freeze, when the ice that clings onto your beard was screaming agony? Hey, and you snatch your rattling last breaths with deep sea diver sounds, and the flowers bloom like madness in the spring. Sun streaking cold, an old man wandering lonely, taking time the only way he knows. Leg hurting bad as he bends to pick a dog end. He goes down to the bark and warms his feet. Feeling alone, the armies of the road, salvation at a moat and a cup of tea. Aqualung, my friend, don't you start away uneasy. You poor old sod, you see it's only me. Aqualung, my friend, don't just start away uneasy. You poor old sod, you see it's only me. Sitting on the park bench, eyeing little girls with bad intent. Snot running down his nose, greasy fingers smearing shabby clothes. Hey, Aqualung, drying in the cold sun, watching as the frilly panties run. Hey, Aqualung, feeling like a dead duck, spitting out pieces of his broken luck. Hey, Aqualung.
Jethro Tull, like a lot of bands then, was necessarily given only a very finite time in which to make a new record, because the demands to get out and develop the potential of the band as a live act in different countries was really, I mean, it was a very strong sense of need, both on the part of record company management, audiences in other countries, and for us as musicians to really get out there and explore that wide world. So I think we probably had, I mean, I seem to recall that when we were working on this was either side of Christmas, and it seems like we probably had 3 or 4 weeks to do it. And as I say, 2 or 3 pieces we came in armed with as rehearsed and worked out pieces. Other songs like Locomotive Breath, for example, were very much contrived on the spot, and very unsuccessfully in terms of attempts to make the record. It was finally, I mean, this is artistic rather than technically a problem, but it was just that we couldn't somehow get the thing to click at all. It was just, I was obviously not getting across the way I wanted this song to sound to the other guys, and it ended up with me sitting out in the studio. These were in the days before click tracks and things. I sat in the studio to be a click track for 4.5 minutes or whatever by playing hi-hat and bass drum all the way through the track, and then overdubbed to that with the rest of. Then I added some guitar parts, electric guitar parts and acoustic guitar parts, and then tied on the front of that was John Evans' piano intro, and then Clyde Bunker overdubbed the toms and the cymbals, and Martin came and added the other electric guitar part to it. So it was one of those strange songs. It was actually, I'm not saying we weren't all in the room at the same time. We were probably all there that day, but it was certainly, it was more like a later Pink Floyd recording than a Jethro Tull recording, in the sense it was made up out of a lot of overdubs of parts, and no one really knew what the end song was going to sound like except me.
all-time loser, headlong to his death. Oh, it feels a piston scraping, steam breaking on his brow. Old Charlie stole the handle sees his children jumping off the stations one by one. His woman and his best friend in bed and having fun. Oh, he's calling down the corridor on his hands and knees. Oh, Charlie stole the handle and the train, it won't stop going. No, it should slow down. Yeah. The silence howling catches angels as they fall, and the all-time winner has got him by the balls. Oh, he picks up Gideon's Bible, open at page 1. I thank God it stole the handle, and the train it won't stop. Oh, no, it should slow down.
Welcome to part 4 of my Jethro Tull album deep dive series. Today I'm talking about their fourth and arguably their best studio album, Aqualung. This is a copy that I have on Reprise Records. I also have the Steven Wilson remix, which is amazing. Pick it up if you don't already have it. So this was obviously the album that broke Jethro Tull, if not to a wider audience in the UK, definitely to audiences in America. 4 solid radio hits, at least, off this record. I can remember at least 5 being played on the radio growing up on the classic rock station. And Ian Anderson has said, it is not a concept album. It's not a concept album. And he goes to great lengths to tell people it's not a concept album. As a matter of fact, people calling this a concept album is what made him do a concept album parody with his next album, Thick as a Brick. But my thing is, okay, if it's not a concept album, why is Aqualung mentioned in Cross-Eyed Mary, the second song on the album? If you don't want people to think it's a concept album, don't use the same character in 2 successive songs is all I'm saying. But anyway, okay, if you say it's not, it's not. But there's no denying there is a prevailing theme of religion, separating religion from spirituality, which carries over definitely on a couple of the songs. Some of the other ones are character studies and don't really tie into the whole theme of religion. But as far as, is there an overarching thing? Probably not, although some of the tracks do share some similar lyrical subject matter. But anyway, that aside, the iconic album cover image was actually painted by Burton Silverman, and he was paid £500 or $500, whatever. I don't know what the denomination was, but he was paid what really, considering today how iconic the image is, was a paltry sum. And Ian Anderson has always claimed that he was the one who posed for the portrait of the Aqualung character on the cover. The painter himself, Burton Silverman, says no, it was a self-portrait. I guess they looked similar to each other. You could easily mistake the figure on this cover as being Ian Anderson, but whatever. Another point of contention about this album that I'm not going to get into. It's the first album with Jeffrey Hammond on bass. Yeah, the Jeffrey from Song for Jeffrey off the This Was album, and Jeffrey Goes to Leicester Square from the Stand Up album. I don't know why they had such a fixation with this guy before he was even in the band.
Jeffrey, don't do that. Jeffrey, come over here. Oh, look at what you've done, Jeffrey. You kicked the Jeffrey. Will you please, Jeffrey?
But finally, on their fourth album, he was in the band. They kicked Glenn Cornick to the curb because he was partying too hard. And also, this was the first album where John Evan was a full member of the band. So, yeah, Jethro Tull is now a quintet and a full-on arena rock band. This is an excellent album, a flawless album from start to finish. And whereas on each of the first three Jethro Tull albums, there was at least one song that I felt was kind of weak or not quite up to snuff. But here, if anybody is familiar with Jethro Tull, odds are it's going to be one of the songs, if not the title track, one of the songs on this record. It's just their most popular and, to me, their greatest album. Of course, I'm picking this as my favorite. There is no contest. You could say Thick as a Brick, I suppose, if you wanted, or maybe if you're trying to be elitist, you could pick a different Jethro Tull album. But for me, it's going to be Aqualung. Just like for me, Deep Purple's Machine Head is my favorite Deep Purple album. And Dark Side of the Moon, yes, is my favorite Pink Floyd album. But anyway, we're not here to discuss favorites. We're here to talk about the album Aqualung. Well, Jethro Tull, they recorded it at Island Records' new studio in London. Ironically, at the same time that Led Zeppelin were recording Led Zeppelin 4, they got the smaller room. Jethro Tull, for whatever reason, got the larger space to record in, and Ian Anderson was very dissatisfied with the sound quality they were getting.
It was a very difficult album to make, and one that has always frustrated me to this day, thinking there are just certain sounds on there. Even at the time of doing it, that you knew it was not good. It was a struggle.
I don't know why he didn't move studios, but he soldiered through, and the album that they came out with, even though Ian Anderson said that it sounded real shitty when they were recording it, it's a masterpiece. It is their masterpiece. But anyway, let's get into the songs on Aqualung. So it opens with Aqualung, and one of the first things I find interesting, there's no flute on Aqualung anywhere. Jethro Tull's arguably their biggest song, the song that they're most known for, and there's not a single bit of flute on it. It is hard rock. Heaviest song, Jethro Tull, arguably heaviest song that they've recorded to this point. And yeah, it's catchy as all hell. Lyrically, I'm kind of trying to decide, is he making fun of this guy? Does he sympathize with this poor guy? I mean, he calls him Assad, which, I'm no Brit, but I always thought that was kind of an insult. Tell somebody to sod off, call him Assad. I can't imagine that's a very flattering term to use with anybody. But then there's a bit of tenderness, and he does seem to have some sympathy for this poor guy, whoever he is, the person in the photograph that his wife took. And he's also said, I probably should have used the photograph that my wife took instead of the painting. But anyway, so yeah, great song, iconic. What else am I going to say about it? Then we have Cross-Eyed Mary, another huge radio hit, another heavy rock song. And if to make up for the fact that there's no flute on Aqualung, you do have that great flute intro, which I love. It sounds so cool, so dramatic, so, so orchestral, whatever you want to call it. I love that flute intro. It makes the song for me. And then we get into heavy rock with some very cool organ playing from John Evan. Reminds me of Deep Purple, that heavy organ on this song. It's about a prostitute, but I love this track. two killer songs straight off the bat to kick off this remarkable album. The next song is Cheap Day Return, which returns to Jethro Tull's folky roots, a little bit more familiar territory for Jethro Tull. And lyrically, apparently, Ian Anderson's father had a terminal illness and he was dying. And so this song is about his dad, who he had, from what I understand, a pretty contentious relationship. So I love this song, very melodic, unlike some of the previous songs that I've covered from the first three albums that were a bit folky. This one, no mistaking, this is very melodic, very hummable. I do enjoy this track a lot.
On present platform, do your soft shoe shuffle dance. Brush away the cigarette ash that's falling down your pants. And then you sadly wonder, does the nurse treat your old man the way she should? She made you tea, asked for your autograph. What a laugh.
The next song is Mother Goose, and this is a perfect song to prance around a maypole. I'm even thinking of putting a maypole in my backyard just because I love this song so much, and every time I hear it, it makes me want to run for the nearest maypole and just skip around in a circle, throwing flowers and whatever. I know I'm being silly. Sorry. Okay, but it's a cool song. Again, another very hummable piece of English folk music, but I do enjoy it.
As I did walk by Hampstead Fair, I came upon Mother Goose. So I turned her loose as she was screaming. And a foreign student said to me, was it really true? There are elephants and lions too in Piccadilly Circus. Walked down by the bathing pond to try and catch some sun. Saw at least 100 schoolgirls sobbing into handkerchiefs as one.
And then another acoustic folky song, Wondering Aloud. Of these three, probably my least favorite. I'm not saying I dislike the song, but if you're asking me, and you didn't because you're watching my video, you can't ask me shit unless you put it in the comment section. But anyway, if you were to ask me what is your least favorite of those three acoustic songs, which would be weird because I already told you this is my favorite Jethro Tull album. It's a masterpiece. So why are you asking me to give my least favorite song? That's pretty unfair of you to do that. But if you did, I would probably say Wondering Aloud, and you'd probably say, get on with this fucking deep dive already and stop going off on tangents. And I will, I promise. But yeah, I do like Wondering Aloud. But Wondering Aloud is a very tender love song, talking to his wife, presumably, and saying, what is it going to be like when we get older? Will things be just as great as they are now? And the answer for Ian Anderson would be no. He would divorce Jenny Anderson after a period of time. I'm not sure when they got divorced, but Wondering Aloud certainly did not pertain to her, apparently. But anyway, I still like the song. It's a very nice, beautiful ballad. The next track up to me is English folk with some teeth. Punch you in the face, teeth. I love that flute riff that's carried over in the acoustic guitar as well. That riff is so awesome. I love it. I love this song because it's folky, but it's got some balls behind it.
To the cinema and leave you in a wimpy bar. You tell me that we've gone too far. Come running up to me. Make the scene at Cousin Jack's. Leave him to put the bottles back. Mends his glasses that are cracked. Well, that's one up to me. Hey. Silver cloud to ride, pack the tennis club inside. Trouser cuffs hung far too wide, well it was up to me. Tires down on your bicycle, you know it feels like an icicle. The yellow-fingered smoky girl is looking up to me. Yeah.
They definitely delivered the goods on this album. Side 1 is just flawless. Love it. Perfect album side. And then we flip the record over. So side 1 is called the Aqualung side, and then side 2 is called My God. But it's not a concept album. Not a concept album, okay? Even though we have each side titled differently with a theme. It's not a concept album, says Ian Anderson. But the My God side, where the prevailing theme is religion versus spirituality, but it's not a concept album, starts off with one of my favorite songs on the album, the epic My God. My God, what a great song. So My God starts off very folky, but kind of in a dark way. Ian Anderson singing about religion, which very obviously he holds in contempt, but talking about Jesus and rising from the dead. And then that Martin Barr lick just kicks you in the nuts. And it's like, holy crap. It takes the song to an entirely different level.
People, what have you done? Locked him in his golden cage. Golden cage. Made him bend to your religion. Him resurrected from the grave. From the grave. He is the God of nothing, if that's all that you can see. You are the God of everything.
inside you and me. So lean upon him gently and don't call on him to save you from your social graces. Oh, and the sins you used to wave. You used to wave. The bloody Church of England in chains of history. Requests your earthly presence at the vicarage for tea.
I love every minute of this song. The only reason this wasn't Radiohead is because it was too long, but I'm telling you, epic. Almost the centerpiece of the album for me is this track. I love it so much. And then another religious theme track, but it's not a concept album. Hymn 43, one of my favorite songs on this record, and it's so hard to pick one.
Oh, Father high in heaven, smile down upon your son. Yeah, was busy with his money games, oh, his women and his guns. But Jesus saved me. And the unsung Western hero, he killing Indian North Green, and then he made his name in Hollywood, oh, to set the white man free. Ah, Jesus saved me. Ow. If Jesus saves, well, it better save himself from the gory glory seekers who use his name in death. Ow. Oh, Jesus save me.
love the piano rhythm on here. Ian Anderson comparing Jesus to a cowboy in the second verse, but a very snarky take on organized religion or people that use the story of Jesus for nefarious purposes, whatever. A great, great track. The next song is the Acoustic Slipstream, and it's barely a minute long. And I wonder if there weren't so many other great songs on here, if they wouldn't have extended this to maybe the 2 or 3 minute mark. Not exactly sure what the lyrics mean entirely, but it's kind of a cool, just like some of those like very brief White Album tracks. I'm glad they're there, even if they're not the most substantial song that they ever wrote. Then another epic masterpiece is Locomotive Breath, and it's such a long song, but again, I love the intro to Locomotive Breath. It is so cool, and I love the whole idea. It's almost like the whole Casey Jones Grateful Dead song, the whole theme of this train, and I don't know if it's metaphorical or not. I haven't dove very deep into the lyrics, but the whole idea of like this runaway train that is speeding out of control. I always love that imagery, but Locomotive Breath, what a kick-ass song. And it's hard to believe it was patched together in the studio. And then the final song is Wind Up, where Ian Anderson is talking about his religious upbringing and how religion kind of messed him up, whatever, or just the fact that, you know, religion has got it all wrong. Organized religion focuses too much on the ceremony, too much on all the rituals and the rites and the symbolism, instead of just talking about Jesus and his message. Anyway, that's how I interpret the lyrics, but it's still a cool song. And another one that it starts off soft and gets heavy and just goes a lot of interesting places. Very much progressive rock.
I don't believe you. You had the whole damn thing all wrong. It's not the kind you have to wind up on Sundays. Well, you connect, communicate me on my way to Sunday school and have all the bishops harmonize these How'd you dare to tell me that I'm not part of the sun when that was just an accident to birth? I'd rather look around me, compose a better song, 'cause that's the honest measure of my worth. In your pomp and all your glory, you're a poorer man than me, as you lick the boots of death, born out of fear.
Yeah, just a very rewarding listen. One I never get tired of. I love all these songs to death. I'm regretting I didn't put this in my list of top 100 favorites. If I had done this deep dive prior to that list, it definitely would have made it on, but whatever. Whatever. So, a great album. Let me know what you think of it. Is your favorite Jethro Tull album? Do I even need to ask? Or do you prefer the next one, Thick as a Brick? Hope you're enjoying this series. Take care.